608 days. That is how long South Africa has had to wait to play test match rugby. It's been a long time coming. The last game that South Africa played at test match level was the Rugby World Cup final in Yokohama in 2019. We are very grateful to be back once again on One World Sports Radio. Don't forget, follow us on YouTube, subscribe, like this video. Check us out on Facebook as well. Don't forget, you can tweet during this game at OneWorldSR. But let me begin now by introducing my partner in crime for this game, Otto Simon. Otto, I am beyond stoked. How are you feeling?
It's wherever you are, let us know where you are. Tweet us in. As Dave said, this is going to be absolutely epic. And while we watch the players walking onto the field, getting ready for the pre-game ceremonies there, I will start by running you through the South African team, starting at loosehead prop, going up to number 15. We've got number 1, Oxen Che, 2, Bongi Mbonambi, 3, Trevor Nyakane, 4, Eben Etzebeth, 5, Franco Mostert, 6, Siya Kolisi, the captain, 7, Pieter Stef de Tooy, 8, Kwagga Smit, 9, Kobus Reinach, 10, Andre Pollard, 11, Apelele Fasi, 12, Frans Steyn, 13, Jesse Kriel, 14, Roscoe Speckman, and 15, Willie Leroux. The reserves will go through in a moment. Dave, you and I can take turns having a go at the Georgia names, but you nominated yourself to do this, so let's go. Let's hear the Georgia team.
I'm happy to do that, but there's two debutants for South Africa. Apelele Fasi, a man who plays for the Sharks, a blitz player on the wing. And speaking of blitz, there's a blitzbok, Roscoe Speckman, making his debut with a third possible Jasper. We'll talk about him, Visa, who's on the bench. But Roscoe Speckman and Apelele Fasi are wings this evening. Roscoe Speckman, no newbie to the South African rugby structures, but we are grateful that he gets a run in the 15. So the Georgians, their front row is Gogechashvili, Bregvadze, Melikidze. Their loose forwards are, their rather lock pairing is Gigauri and Mikhautadze. Their loose forward trio is Spandarashvili, Saginadze, and Jalagonia. Their halfback pairing are Lobjanidze and Abzandadze. Their wings are Tapladze and Tabudzadze, with their center pairing of Sharikadze, the skipper, and Kvesaladze. Their fullback is Niniashvili.
Great stuff. So I'll take the Georgia bench. From 16 to 23, Georgi Chikoidze, Nikolos Katiashvili, Luka Jabaridze, Nodar Cheshvili, Georgi Yavakia, Jela Abrazidze, Georgi Babunashvili, and Ilya Spanderashvili. I think you named Spanderashvili in the team sheet that you've got there, but we'll confirm which number he's got. I've got him here as 23, and if I'm not mistaken, he was announced as number 6 or 7, but we'll sort that out. Let's talk about the Springbok team and the Springbok bench, because we are green-tinted commentators here on One World Sports Radio in favor of the Springboks. So if you're a Georgia fan, you're welcome to keep listening, and please tweet us in what you think about the Georgia team. Help us out, please.
Absolutely. The South African bench is packed with experience. Malcolm Marx, Stephen Kitsoff, Frans Malherbe are the replacement front rowers. Marvin Orie is back into the South African Springbok colours once again. Jasper Visa, a man who plays for Leicester in the United Kingdom, so we're excited to see him. He runs very well with the ball. The Yankees pairing of Herschel and Elton are on the bench, and rounding up the 23 is Damian Willemse for South Africa. So we, Otto and I, are licking our lips at the prospect of this game. And a couple of guys that you would normally expect in the South African lineup are out injured at the moment or are not playing in this game. A guy like Lucanio as well as Lurtiache are not in this match day 23. But Otto, you would still say that this is still a fantastic South African squad. I mean, 550 plus caps in this lineup.
Yep, 200 caps in the back line from 9 to 15, and 300 caps from 1 to 8 for the Springboks. And then I'm not sure how many caps on the bench, but just looking at it, there must be at least 100, 120 caps on the bench, maybe more, and maybe close to 200. So 3 debutants in the Springbok team, and what a nice team to slot into.
Absolutely. So this is the first of 2 tests from Loftus Versfeld. This one is obviously the curtain raiser, if you will, to South Africa's preparations for the inbound Lions tour. Remember, the British and Irish Lions played last weekend against the Japanese. They beat them, but an interesting contest ahead of us today is to see. Remember, we said South Africa 608 days, 688 since they last played in South Africa, and that was against the Argentinians. And it's going to be interesting to see how things play out today. Mike Adamson is the Scotsman who is the referee, and he's now telling everybody that they're playing in the wrong direction. So they're quickly going to switch, as it looks like the Georgians with Abjan Dadze will be kicking off today's game. Otto, what do you think about bringing in a guy like Roscoe Speckman? He's plied his trade in Blitzbok colours, but first run in the 15-man stuff.
Well, I would hope that it's a replacement for Cheslin Colby, who's not available. I'm not sure if Cheslin is still an option for the Boks at wing, but definitely stepping into those huge shoes, and no pun intended, and all of that stuff, because Cheslin really set a new benchmark for South African wing players with his contribution to the team, as we see the kickoff
play getting underway, and it looks like there's immediately a knock-on from the South Africans from the catch. It's poor, Otto. I mean, these 2 teams last playing each other in the 2003 World Cup, where a young Skalk Burger made his debut, and now he's on the sideline commentating. Just having a look at that initial take from Franco Mostert, the lineup there from him and his support lifters was poor.
Yeah, it looked like the knock-on came from Kwagga Smith, who was just behind Franco Mostert, lifted into the air by his support players, but couldn't get hands on the ball. Went over his hands, and just the timing and the positioning a bit off there, which is to be expected. And I'm not sure what opposition Georgia last played against. They must have been playing in that series last year against other European nations.
Yes, they managed to get some game time against,
they played England, I think, and France, and
wonderful opportunity for them. They're ranked 12th.
No, they played against those 6-nation teams, and
absolutely,
yes, Scrum. And all of these guys play in Europe, in the clubs, most of them. Mm-hmm. Yes, let's go.
So Scrum now, far side of the field, about 15 meters in from the touchline and about 23 meters outside the Springbok try line, as Lobjanidze feeds it, and there's a collapse scrum immediately, and South Africa are penalized. Early nerves here for the Springboks, Otto. It's something that they need to sort out very quickly, because this Georgian team is incredibly physical. They've got to sort it out to do the front three.
Yep. And I was just about to say, as we see, I'll have a go. Abjan Dadze is lining up the kick for goal here from about 25 meters out from the goal line and about 20 meters in from the far side touchline. Losing his footing there, Trevor Nyakane going straight down, and the referee indicating that as soon as the pressure came on, Nyakane lost his grip on the surface of the earth and concedes a penalty. So I think this Georgia team, don't underestimate them. They also play like a Six Nations type of thing, just like a lower tier every year against other nations at their level, and they've given good account of themselves in World Cups, as we see the strike now.
6 meter, and it is good. So Georgia opened the scoring in the first test match between these two nations, and it's just something that'll calm the nerves early for this Georgian side. They would obviously be aware of the pressure that comes with playing the world champions and the world number 1 ranked team. So it's good for them to get things as Andre Pollard gets things underway. It's a deep kick to the right hand side of the field, just inside the 22, and it's immediately dealt with and disposed of, as South Africa will have a throw just to the Georgian side of halfway. It looks like the assistant referee is indicating, and Bongi Mbonambi is the man that's going to throw once he's gotten the call from Oxen Chair. This South African front row, by no means, second tier. You would think that, with how everything has gone on with South Africa and their ability to have 2 fantastic front rows, as that one goes to Etzebeth, to Reinach, and Siya Kolisi in the middle of the park picks it up before he's brought down. Reinach once again. Pieter-Steph du Toit running hard at the Georgian defense. Reinach back at the back of the ruck. He finds Francois Steyn, who finds Jesse Kriel, a man who's good on his feet. He tries to dummy, but is immediately brought down on the 10-meter line. Kobus Reinach goes to his left. There's options out wide for him here. Willie Leroux joins the line. Pieter-Steph du Toit, he's got the one man to beat. It's Apalele Fassi. It looks like he's going to go all the way. He does! And South Africa have their first try. Apalele Fassi, the man on debut. It looks like he's going to be in here for the try with only 4.5 minutes in the game. I think there's going to be a question here whether or not he popped out on the sideline there, Otto. But fantastic work there by the South Africans.
Doesn't matter if he stepped over the line, do it again, Springboks, please. That was beautiful. Off the set piece, 2 phases, and then out into the wings where Pieter-Steph du Toit and Willie Leroux joined the end of the line. And the very last receiver, Apalele Fassi, on debut, on the left-hand side, beat 2 defenders running across after getting the outside, getting a little bit of space. There's one, and then the second one is the one. He takes 3-4 more steps before the last tackler comes to try and stop him. His left foot is inside the field. He touches down. His right foot might have stroked the touchline behind him as he spins around with the force of the tackle coming through. But that looks like it might be out with his right foot. No, he's put it down. He's put it down before his foot goes over the line. His foot's nowhere near the line, and he's put the ball down. So that's a try. Apalele Fassi on debut, 4.5 minutes. Beautiful.
Yes. Wonderful stuff there from the South Africans. It's good, quick playing rugby. It's not necessarily what we would usually expect from the South African backline. Normally there's a continued pressure from the forwards, and then, the overlap and the gap is what you would expect from the South Africans. But Apalele Fassi with his first try in the green and gold, a man who plies his trade for the Chelsea Sharks down in Durban. And Andre Pollard is the man who's going to take the kick here. It's right up against the touchline. He's absolutely smashed that one, but no luck there. It's gone wide. But nevertheless, South Africa 5 minutes in, and it is also, it is 5-3. The South Africans coming back here. Pieter-Steph onto Apalele Fassi. And all he needed to do was just dot that down. Don't forget, you can tweet us at OneWorldSR. That's OneWorldSR, and we will read your tweets when we get the opportunity to do so. Franco Mostard is the man who collects on the South African 22. He's got a lot of support there in the ruck. Kobus Reinach eventually makes his way there. Pieter-Steph du Toit is right there lurking, and there might be a box kick coming here. It looks like they're setting up for, and it is a box kick from Kobus Reinach. There's a bit of contest there. South Africa trying to get in there. It was Ibn Etzebeth who was the man trying to contest with Siya Kolisi, but Siya Kolisi able to do the cleanup work there as Georgia hammer into that center field positioning there with Melekidze on the ball at the moment. He's got some support from Bregvadze, his hooking teammate here, as the ball goes out to Abjandadze, who sets an up and under, and there's an opportunity here for Willie Leroux to take an early high ball, and South Africa turn over possession as it is clocked over to the 6th minute, as now we see a good drive there by the South African forward pack. There's an option here for Bongi Mbonambi, but it looks like there is a penalty, and it is indeed one from the Scotsman, the referee, who's Adamson, who is penalizing the Georgians for not rolling away there. I think the key here for Georgia is to maintain discipline as Pollard with the following on of that penalty kicks it up and out over the 22-meter line. Otto, it was good bit of work there from the South Africans, and even better to prevent the man from the option of rolling away. It looks like Saginadze is the man who was penalized in the end there, the flanker.
Yeah, coming in from the side and just putting his hands on the ball in the ruck, beaten by the ruck there. This line out is just outside the 22 of the Georgians on the near side of the field. Good work there by Georgia as well, as we see the throw coming in.
Absolutely. Bongya Bonambi is discussing his options with Nche, but it goes through to Eben Etzebeth. It looks like it's a fair one, rather. Turns out it's not, actually. There's a change of mind by the referee, initially saying, but it is a South African advantage. Reinach to Francois Steyn to Handré Pollard. He's got Rosper Spekman on his left-hand side. He gets to him now, but he's brought down in the middle of the field. Komas Reinach to Willie Leroux. Absolutely hammered there. It looks like maybe an early break there from Tabusadze, the right wing from Georgia, and they do come back as South Africa will enjoy a penalty there. It was poor from the Georgians there, Otto. A couple of disciplinary errors already creeping in here, and it's not even 10 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it's something that you often see with Georgia. They do have issues with their discipline. They tend to go in a little bit too eager on the breakdowns sometimes, but let's hope they can sort that out and make it a nice clean contest. They were doing well with ball in hand until they kicked it away, and then the Springboks made it all the way back into their 22 now.
Absolutely. It was a good bit of work there from the South Africans, but it was indeed still an advantage where they were concerned there. 5-meter throw for the South Africans. It's probably going to go to Eben Etzebeth, and you can almost expect them all. Siya Kolisi is the man who's at 9 as they look to pile in now to a maul that has almost immediately collapsed, but South Africa going with the ruck option. Looks like there's a bit of work here for Reinach to do to get some sort of options here for South Africa. Immediately goes to Frans Steyn. He's brought down once again, and South Africa looking menacing right in front of the post here, but they're about 50 meters out. Trevor Nyakane getting the ball and barreling over the gain line. Reinach to his left. He finds Eben Etzebeth, who is held up there by the 14 and 15 Tabusadze and Niniashvili, as South Africa look to try and bring it back this side of the field, the near side of the field, that it goes to Peter Steff, and then
not sure if that's me or Dave.
Georgia now with the ball in the middle of the field. It's Spandarashvili who's got the ball with him now, and there's an option to his right-hand side.
And Georgia in the middle of the field, just outside their own 10-meter line, the ball is taken up and well met by Springbok defense here on the near side of the field, about 16 meters away from the near side of the field, the Georgian scrum half. No, it's one of the forwards that tries to burst through the middle, but there's a knock-on by Georgia. We'll get the numbers and the names for you in a minute, and the Springboks are hitting back. They're over the 10-meter line. Reinach kicks this one over the top, and it's caught cleanly by one of the Georgian players. I do apologize for the break in the excellent naming that Dave has been able to keep up, but I'm quite far away from my television. That looks like the number 10 there, Abzandadze.
It's not. It's Lobjanidze.
Lobjanidze, the scrum half, who caught that ball cleanly, free kick out, and now the Springboks coming back over the halfway line where there's a kick. But it looks like Willie Leroux caught there by the number 14.
I thought it was rather
15.
It was the 15.
It was Niniashvili, the 15 for Georgia, who caught that ball and was shepherded over the touchline. Quick throw in by the Springboks, kick over the top there to the far side where Apaleli Fasi chases this one down, and it's over the try line. The Georgian captain there, Sheragadze, shepherding that ball, and that will be a throw into Georgia on the far side of the field, about 10 meters from their own touchline. good attacking play here by the Springboks, some mistakes by the Georgians, and immediately exploited by the Springboks. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, it's a massive opportunity here for the Springboks to put their foot on the gas.
Neat line out by Georgia, not really contested by the Springboks. The Georgians trying to set up the maul here. And as they start to gain a little bit of momentum, the forwards are able to just hold this one up. The Springbok forwards, it's about 7 meters out from the Georgian touchline, 6 meters in from the far side of the field. Not the touchline of Georgia, the goal line. And there's an advantage to the Springboks. There might have been a knock-on there, yes. It's a knock-on advantage. So in that maul that Georgia tried to set up 6 meters away from their own goal line, they knock the ball on and they give the ball straight back to the Springboks, now 8 meters out from the Georgian try line, about 6 meters in from the far side touchline here at Loftus Versfeld. I can say here at Loftus Versfeld because it's about 15 kilometers away from my house, so I'm gonna say that. And that was also the last time that the Springboks played in South Africa, was at Loftus. So the scrum is setting now. Georgia dominated the first one. Let's see if Trevor can find some footing now. So it's going to be me on the air for a while Dave is sorting it out. The players are crouching in the scrum position. The bind is called and the scrum starts now with Kobus Reinach putting the ball in, the Springboks holding firm. Kwagga Smith picks it up from the back. He steps once, twice, goes over the 5 meter line and he's got support. Kobus Reinach fumbles the ball behind the ruck and it goes out scrappily to Willie Leroux, tries to dance his way through the Georgians. He gets about 20 meters away from the goal line. And now Oxen Che barrels through the middle. He's up to the 5 meter line now, 6 meters out now. Frans Steyn gets the ball from Kobus Reinach and he's held up and driven back by the Georgians. The ball is scrappy here for the Springboks. Georgia have it back. They will get a penalty here as the retreating Springboks barge over the number 9, trying to make a play behind the loose scrum there. And now there's a bit of how's your mother and where are we going to have the braai after the game conversation going on between Eb and Etzebeth and about 8 or 9 of the Georgians there. The Georgians need, the Georgian captain is in there trying to break things up, and they finally get the players to separate into their respective teams. The Georgians have the penalty with the lazy running by the Springboks retreating after an excellent defensive effort by the Georgians, driving Frans Steyn back and then just muscling the ball away from the Springboks. The referee is talking to both captains, Siya Kolisi and Merab Sharagadze, getting a talking to. But it will be a penalty to the Georgians and they will be able to get out of their 22 at least, probably with Abjandadze. I'm going to get his name right eventually. The number 10 looks like he's got a decent boot on him. So he's going to take this penalty more or less in the middle of the field, a bit to the near side of the field. Takes the mark now from the referee just behind the 22 of Georgia. And we'll see how far he can get this penalty downfield. And he just gets the flag raised about on the halfway line where Georgia will have the throw into the line out. You're with me, Paul.
Yes, so for the Springboks looking good, but Georgia giving them a good game.
Mm-hmm. Now, these guys are serious rugby players. They're not amateur side. So, Dave, you're back.
I'm back. The joys of South African Wi-Fi.
There we go. So Georgia throws this one into the second position in the line-out, out to the fly half, who chips this one over the top, neatly fielded by Jesse Kriel. He's got his opposite number 13 for Georgia, bringing him down in the middle of the field, about 10 meters away from the Springbok 22. Kobus Reinach digs for the ball. He gives it to Bongi Mbanambi. He's got Peter Steff and Nyakane with him. The Springboks getting slow ball here. Kobus Reinach needs some space here. He gets the box kick in now. It goes to the far side of the field, 50 meters in, just outside the Springbok 10-meter line, neatly gathered there by Naniashvili, the Georgian fullback. And it's sent out now into the big men, crashing the ball onto the 10-meter line of the Springboks this time. Jesse Kriel gets the tackle in behind the advantage line, almost on the halfway line, behind the advantage line now. Behind the halfway line is the tackle made by the Springboks, but they're not going to get the ball. In this case, the referee penalizing Pieter-Steph du Toit and all the other Springboks that were at that ruck, saying that they went over the ball with their hands. And it's a penalty to Georgia on the halfway line, 14 meters from the near side of the field. Dave, this is where you do the other talking stuff now. Are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you here. It's a little bit of ill discipline there by the South Africans, Frans Steyn, and as you mentioned, Pieter-Steph du Toit with a little bit of help there from Franco Mostert, who are the guilty party there. And South Africa now have to defend a line out on their own 22, as it looks like Bregvadze is the man who's going to do the throwing duties this evening as hooker.
He aims now to find his jumpers. It's on the Springbok 22-meter line on the near side of the field. It goes to the front of the line out, and they set them all, do the Georgians. They've only got 5 forwards in the line there, and Eben Etzebeth managing to get hold of the ball carrier there. It looks like the Springboks have got this one. No, Georgia get it out to the inside center there, tackled just 2 meters outside the 22. Advantage to Georgia, 15 meters from the near side of the field. And this number 9 tries to break through, and the ball is knocked on or knocked backwards. But then the referee comes back for the penalty, tackler not rolling away, and Georgia will aim at the poles to make it 6 points to 5 if they can do that. 17 minutes gone in the first half. The Georgians are playing quality rugby here, Dave.
Yeah, it's good work. You saw Sharakadze, the Georgian captain, the man being brought down, and it's ironically it's our own captain, Siyakolisi, who is guilty of not rolling away there. And South Africa here have got to be careful. I think, you know, we said that it's a long time since they've played rugby together, and it's expected that they would be a little bit hesitant perhaps in the first 10-15 minutes of the game. But as we head towards the halfway mark of the first half, I think South Africa have got to be mindful of not rushing into challenges and you know, unnecessarily giving away penalties to the Georgians, as Abjandadze lines it up here.
Tedo Abjandadze, he comes forward now, strikes it, and it sails through the middle of the northern poles at Loftus Versveld, the left-hand side of the field as we're looking at it. And Georgia restore the lead, 6 points to 5.
I thought that was the halftime hooter at your house, Otto. It turns out it was just somebody hooting for you.
Yes, the kickoff is quickly taken here by Andre Pollard, and Roscoe Speckman tries to knock it back, and some pinball there by the Springboks as they tried to get the quick offloads in. Eben Etzebeth tried to get that one offloaded to one of his support players there, or he might have been one of the intended recipients, but it is a scrum to Georgia. It's about 26 meters away from their goal line and 20 meters in from the near side of the field. Roscoe Speckman doing well to get to that ball, but the tall timber was in the way.
Absolutely, and it was indeed Eben Etzebeth, the guilty party there, knocking it on, but still getting a high five from his lock partner, Franco Mostert, as we head to the halfway stage of this first half. And Otto, you would say it's still probably an even game, hey?
Well, both sides looking a little bit scrappy. That's what I would say as we watch the scrum. Ball goes short. What was that early engagement called by the referee there?
It looks like
early engagement by the Springboks. Yeah.
Trevor Nyakane guilty again. That's 2 scrummaging penalties from the experienced campaigner, and I think the South Africans, as a pack, need to have a conversation.
This one was a short arm, and a short arm, that's early engagement. That usually means the whole front row, probably both front rows. That's very 50-50 calls usually. So when when you're in the front row, you can do little twitches with your hands or something to make your opponent come in early and then get the penalty that way, or that's why it's a short arm penalty. But the Georgians, yes, like a false start, so the Georgians have gone for the scrum. They feel quite bullish here at Loftus Versfeld. And so that's going to be interesting to see if the Springboks can come back and make things right in the scrum for the Springboks. The ball is then engaging now for the scrum. The ball is put in and picked up quickly by the 8th man for Georgia. Comes around the far side, picked up again off that phase by the scrum half. Nicely driven in there by Georgia. They are about 2 meters away from their own 10-meter line now, right in the middle of the field. Scrum half looking for a kick here. He does so now. Chasing line coming up from the Georgians as Willie Leroux takes this ball clean out of the air and cracks through all the players around him. He kicks this one forward for himself, but it's out on the near side part of the field as he came towards this near side with that attacking move. Caught the ball cleanly and just evaded everybody around him.
Wonderful work there by the South African fullback. He tried to, on his left foot there, just to chip it over everybody, but slightly overcooking it. And when you're that close to the touchline, you can't be heavy with those little chips. You've got to be delicate, like you are walking on eggshells. He wasn't there, and it'll be a Georgian throw.
Yes, the line out on the near side of the field, and it's just about in between the 22 10-meter line. It looks like Georgia take this ball at the front. The jumper goes down to the ground immediately, and the referee says that's because the Springboks played the supporting players in that line out. So it is a penalty to Georgia. Once again, the discipline, that line out was just about 10 meters inside the 10-meter line of Georgia, where Abzandadze will now take the kick. The number 10 for Georgia puts this one over the touchline from the penalty. And so the play moves into the Springbok half. Once again, Georgia, we said they were ill-disciplined, but now that seemed to have rubbed off on the Springboks, and the Boks are getting blown out of this game by the referee, or they are allowing themselves to be blown out of this game by the referee.
Definitely ill-discipline as we see Bregvadze throw it right to the back there. It's a wonderful throw, and immediately he's got some support from Mikautadze. Lobjanidze, the scrum half, right at the back there. He's looking for options. He goes to his right-hand side and finds Gogichashvili as the first receiver. Once again, South Africa pushing hard at the rucks, trying to get that opportunity. They're rushing into play as Ibn Etzebeth takes the man in tackle. There's an advantage here for the Georgians. A chip over the top, and it looks like it's going to sail harmlessly out on the South African right-hand touchline, just about halfway between 22 and goal line. There's an option there from Abzandadze. He's trying to just chip it over the inner group of people, and it's South Africans that are offside. Something that was spoken about, Otto, by the way the South Africans approached the World Cup. A lot of their defense was rush defense. They would immediately, as soon as the ball comes out, rush the defense. And 99% of that is timing. If your timing is off, you're going to get nailed for offside every single time. And when it works, it looks incredible. And it's wonderful there. As Georgia look like they're going to go here for the polls. Another opportunity for them to stretch out that lead to 9 as we are 24.5 minutes into this game. South Africa need to be asking the question, can they behave?
That's definitely going to be top of mind for the Springbok coaching staff, and this is a gimme for Georgia and Abzandadze right in the middle of the field, about 5 or 6 meters in from the Springbok 10-meter line, so about 35 meters out. It strikes this now, and it goes sailing straight forward, straight through. Thank you very much. Georgia are 9 points to 5 in the lead against the Springboks in Pretoria. Can you believe it? But this is good to see. We're in a test match. We are in a test match.
Absolutely.
Pollard kicks off.
Go for it.
Go, Dave, go.
Andre Pollard kicks it off and it's immediately collected by Niniashvili inside his own 22. Lobjanidze is right at the back there. He's trying to marshal his men on the near side touchline. Looks like he's going to get a box kick. There's a question from Kobus Reinach about whether or not that was a double pump move there. But immediately the ball is kicked out and collected by Kwagga Smith, who runs in field to get over the gain line. There's a hand sticking out there waving as a man is buried in the ruck there. Immediately goes to Franco Mostert as a short option. Kobus Reinach in once again. He throws to his left-hand side. Pieter-Steph du Toit bashing through the tackle of Melekidze. Reinach once again out to Pollard, to Willie Leroux, who's absolutely hammered. There's an opportunity here for Georgia, and I think the referee's blown the whistle. There's a bit of an offside there. There was an opportunity there for Tabusadze, the right-hand wing, right wing rather, and it was just a little bit of an eager movement there as he looked to get on top of the Springboks there.
Yeah, he's got a bright pinkish headgear on, Tabusadze, so we'll know him when we see him. He's the number 14 for Georgia, the right-hand wing, and exactly putting pressure on the South African backline. Tackle coming in there from the fullback Niniashvili, and right there to pounce was Tabusadze, kicking the ball ahead, but it went over the touchline on the far side of the field. So no further play there. But Georgia also exploiting some Springbok errors and getting away with points. So the Springboks really need to tighten up their game here, Dave. They are giving Georgia a sniff here, maybe giving those Georgian players some confidence, and that could be very dangerous.
Absolutely. It's something that we would want to see from the Georgians as a neutral observer, but not as the South African fan watching the World Cup champion player. I mean, one plays 12 here. You wouldn't think that, as we near the half-hour mark here, that the Georgians would be ahead, but I still have confidence. I think the massive impact that South Africa's bench is going to play. Take nothing away from this Georgian squad, but South Africa just, for me, will have too much power. There's a scrum now for that last penalty. Kobus Reinach is going to feed there. He's having a conversation, is the Scottish referee. He's saying to the guys, just hang on a sec here before we get going. And he's delayed it. But we have it now. The feed comes in. Kwagga Smith pops up from the back. He's immediately out and is throwing it wide now to Pieter-Steph du Toit, who's brought down in the middle of the park. Reinach to Francois Steyn, who has some support there from Willie Leroux. Immediately the ball pops out for a forward man in Pieter-Steph du Toit. He's got Apelele Fassi in support. Reinach to his left-hand side now. Ibn Etzebeth brought down right in the middle of the park. South Africa unable to break through this Georgian defense. It goes into the pocket as Andre Pollard kicks an up and under for a South African to try and chase. Fassi doesn't manage to get to it, and there's a bit of a fumble there from the Georgians. It's free, anybody's ball, but in the end, it is Mikautadze who does the cleanup work, and the Georgians have lost a lot of territory here as they are on their 22. An option there for them as they throw it out to the eighth man, Jalagonia, who gets it just over the 22, and it looks like the Georgians are setting up for a box kick here. They do indeed do that as Franco Mostert tried to chase that one down. Wonderful bit of work there from the right-hand wing, Tabusadze, but to try and bring it back, and Georgia maintained possession after their own up and under kick. There's men piling into this next ruck there, but the handling of the Georgians, it's immediately an arm out there from the referee, Adamson. It's a knock-on by the Georgians. And Otto, you've got to say the handling of the Georgians in the last 5 minutes has been substandard.
Yes, we were just talking about how they're keeping themselves in the game before this phase of play, but the violence of the Springbok tackles dislodging the ball there in that last breakdown of the move that ruined the whole thing for Georgia. So that's a bit better to see from the Springbok point of view. Let them know where they are and who they're playing against, the Georgians. They are in Pretoria and they're playing the Springboks. So that needs to be communicated very clearly to this Georgian team. And don't forget, these Georgian guys, like I said, they're pros now. It's not like 10, 12 years ago where half the team were still doing day jobs. All of these guys are professional rugby players. They deserve respect. And the gap is closing between 1 and 12. We've seen upsets in the past. We've been on the receiving end of some upsets, and other teams have as well. Some of the traditional rugby powerhouses. Now, Trevor and Nyakane, they're going into the man carrying the ball, the number 1 there, Gogichashvili, and Trevor and Nyakane needs to go off
for a ding-dong test.
Yeah, because he just barreled his head into the ball. So that would have compressed his neck, no doubt, and they're going to have to check him out. He's not in any visible discomfort, but he's off the field for an HIA test, and that brings Frans Malherbe, the replacement tight head, onto the field. So let's see what France can do here.
Definitely. South African feed to the scrum here. This is an opportunity for South Africa to turn this. It's going to be an opportunity here for the Springboks to turn this into another 5 points. As immediately into the scrum goes the feed from Kobus Reinach. Kwagga Smith picks it up. He goes to the left-hand side. He finds Handré Pollard. He's got Apelele Fassi out on the blind side. He's brought down is Handré Pollard. Kobus Reinach goes to the forward in Eben Etzebeth, and he's held up just on the gain line itself, but he's got He's got Franco Mostert in support. I'm so used to Etzebeth and Diacher as the ball goes through the hands and it goes through to Mbonambi. Now Reinach there with Francois Steyn on his outside. Roscoe Speckman with a cross kick from Frans Steyn, who collects it. He tries to run back inside. He's brought down by Tapaladze. Reinach now swinging the ball to the left-hand side. Franco Mostert to Handré Pollard. South Africa outnumbering on the wing. They've got Willie Leroux, who tries to chip it over the top to find Fassi. He doesn't manage to do so. It goes out on the full, and that's twice now the South African fullback has been guilty of kicking it out on the full, Otto.
Yes, they're trying to outflank the Georgians, but the idea is there, but the execution is letting the Springboks down there from Willie Leroux two times now, where he's tried the little banana kick, and we see Rassie Erasmus shouting into a microphone, so he's probably telling somebody to tell Willie not to do that again. So it's a line out to Georgia on the far side of the field, just outside the 22 of the Georgians, and this one is contested in the air by the Springboks. So it looks like the Georgians have managed to tap that back. No, in fact, the referee says the Springboks have knocked that on because they managed to secure possession through Oxen Chair there on the ground. But it will be a scrum put into Georgia on the far side of the field, about 2 or 3 meters outside the Georgian 22. Once again, Oxen Chair goes for the ball, almost caught it, and it went forward out of his hands. So he secured the possession for his team, but not cleanly so. So the Georgians will have the put in, and they are lining up here quite flat. They might look to run this with the back line up quite flat. The Springboks sitting deep, waiting for the kick, no doubt. And we see the scrum front rows packing down, bind is on, and the engage happens now with the Georgian scrum half putting this in. The Springboks pushing the Georgians back. Are they going to get the penalty? They do! The Springboks absolutely smashing the Georgian scrum. That is a beautiful thing to see, and that will be a penalty to South Africa. They will probably go for the line out here with that ascendancy, and Frans Malherbe making the difference there. But the whole front row working together, Oxen Chair and Frans Malherbe congratulating each other there. Great to see. So Handré Pollard is indeed going to search for that 5-meter line out, and it looks like he's got that nailed down.
Yeah, wonderful scrum there by the Springboks. Frans Malherbe immediately making an impact when he's come back on the field. But nothing can be taken away from Oxen Chair there, because that South African scrum hammered the Georgians and wheeled them through 90. High fives all around among the pack. And South Africa now have about a 10-meter line out.
Yeah, this one goes to Franco Mostert, who sets them all, and Bonge Mbonambi has the ball now. That's brought down by the Georgians. Advantage to South Africa. Kobus Reinach swings it to Pollard. to Jesse Kriel out into the back line. Messy pass now. Roscoe Speckman collects this one off the ground. Apelele Fassi is there looking for work, but they get called back for the collapsed maul. And no doubt the Springboks will rinse and repeat and get that line-out drive going once again. This time Handré Pollard can just pop it over because he's going to have the penalty about 8 meters away from the Georgian goal line, and he does so now. And that is another line-out to South Africa on the 5-meter line of Georgia.
A bit of
so
fortune
that was yes. Go,
yeah, there was a bit of fortune there for the South Africans because that pass from I think it was Frans Steyn looking to find Jesse Kriel and then hopefully Roscoe Speckman. Not the cleanest that we'd expect as the throw-in happens now.
No. Yeah, another ball set perfectly by the South Africans. The ball already in Bongi Mbonambi's hands. Another collapse there. Bongi Mbonambi breaks free. The referee has got his arm out for advantage. Kobus Reinach is looking to pass this one out to Frans Steyn, who tries to barrage his way through. He's not held in the tackle. Gets up, gets over the 5-meter line in the middle of the park. And it's Reinach out now to the first receiver. I'm not sure who that is, but that is a try by the Springboks right underneath the posts. Let's see who that was. The ball was crashed through there by about 3 Springboks in a pod. And the referee is going to consult with the television match official to see if that ball was grounded. The only thing I could think was that the Springbok players lost control of that ball. Handré Pollard looks like he's the one getting up there that went crashing over there. So we'll see on the replays and we'll get you the exact names of the players there. But an excellent power move there by the Springboks, just piercing the defense with power. Just sheer power and weight and just momentum. Yeah, it was Handré Pollard.
Absolutely, it was set up. Yes, that Handré Pollard, if it is a try, it was set up by the bashing through of Francois Steyn. He went through 3 tackles as he went over the gain line there. It was Handré Pollard who had Kwagga Smith in support, and it looks like maybe Sio Kolisi there on the inside, but they absolutely chucked him over the try line there as the Georgians in vain tried to hold him up. It's not conclusive for me, Otto. I can't see a clear grounding of the ball there.
Yeah, not on that angle. The other players were sort of in the way. He might have just grounded it short and then momentum sort of slid him over the line because he ends up at the other end of the line. But the Georgians were trying to stop him. And his teammates throwing him over the goal line, literally, as you said, Dave, also obscuring the camera angles, so we can't see the ball at all.
Yeah,
we'll have to wait for the referees to decide what they want to do here. But if it was me in the TMO box, I would have said 5-meter scrum to the box, and let's try that again. And that's what they do, Okay,
held up short. Yeah, it was just as he makes. Otto, you called it correctly. He was short, and then try to kind of lean over the try line there. He didn't have quick enough hands, as Lobjanidze is the man who gets a hand under it to prevent him. There's a discussion here between the skippers and the referee. Almost said umpire, but it is the referee for rugby. We've been doing a lot of cricket. It's been a while since we've done some rugby. I mean, 600 days, let alone all of the wonderful rugby that's been played elsewhere. So South Africa now with a looks like they're gonna take a 5-meter line out with 7 minutes left to play. Otto, they've surely got to look to get 5 more points here and maybe convert it as well.
Yeah, I think the Springboks sense that they are getting the upper hand over the Georgian forwards, which is not an easy task. Let's not kid ourselves. Bongi Mbonambi is ready to throw into the line out now, full line out, collected by Franco Mostert once again. And a nice line out set. No, that was Eben Etzebeth, but the ball already at the back in the hands of Bongi Mbonambi. This time the Georgians collapse it for a 3rd time. And Reinach will get the ball out to Frans Steyn, who tries to bash through the midfield once again. And Reinach has the ball now once again out to first receiver, who knocks it forward. That was Eben Etzebeth, who dropped the ball as in contact there, but the referee is going to his pocket. That is the 3rd collapsed maul in a row in the red zone. And he is signaling to the Georgians that he wants to speak to at least 2 of them. one being the captain and the other one being the man sent off now. And that is a yellow card for Georgia. Repeated infringements, probably a team warning, and that is Saganadze, number 7. The number 7 flanker, Beka Saganadze. He's
Guilty
in the
there.
bin now. So Saganadze, 21 caps before this match and 15 points, 3 tries for Georgia. Bongi Mbonambi looks like he's going to... Is this a replay? Yes, it must be, because it's in slow motion.
Maybe the South Africans are that good that just everything else looks like slow motion.
They will go now for the fourth attempt at the line-out drive to get over the Georgian try line, which they haven't been able to do, to Georgia's credit. Mbonambi in, and this one is collected by Kwagga Smith this time in the middle of the line-out. The ball already in Mbonambi's hands, and the Springboks are forcing the Georgians into these penalties because they are absolutely smashing them, and Bongi Mbonambi smashes the ball down behind their try line for 5 points. It's 10 points to 9 to the Springboks. Bongi Mbonambi and the Springbok pack take a bow. That's what 300 caps do to you.
Absolutely. It was the Georgians who didn't have any answer to that. You called it, Otto. It was 4 or 5 opportunities for the Springboks. They kept collapsing. The yellow card coming. They're a man short leading into this as Pieter-Steph du Toit was kind of the spear there with Etzebeth, and eventually Mbonambi, the man able to dot down with Siya Kolisi, his skipper, on the left-hand side. So that is exactly what the South Africans would have wanted. They are standing on the edge of... going into this break with a lead. I don't want to call it too soon, but there's still 5 minutes left of this as Pollard takes the kick.
He strikes this, and the flags go up. It's 1 out of 2 for Andre Pollard, 12 points to 9. The Springboks lead with just about 4 minutes to go to halftime here in Pretoria. Sure, eventually... that all happened on the far side of the field, by the way. This try was scored about 6-7 meters away from the far side touchline. So a tough kick there for Pollard, but he managed to get it this time, almost from the same spot, just a little bit closer after Apelele Fasi put that one into that same corner on the far side of the field, to the right as we look at it from the West Pavilion of Loftus Versfeld, where the TV cameras are. And... Abzandadze kicks off into the middle of the field where it's collected by Vili Leroux. He's got a support around him. Kobus Reinach picks up the ball, sets up the phase for Etzebeth, who goes to ground behind the advantage line, but just outside the 22 of the Springboks, a little bit to the near side of the field. Reinach out to Pollard on the far side, swings this out to Vili Leroux in the line. This one by Jesse Kriel is just held up a little bit into the hands of Apelele Fasi, who kicks his head now. They're chasing after it. And Vili Leroux has got it. He's running to the middle of the field now, over the line, under the posts. That's Kobus Reinach, excuse me. Their beards look very similar. But he was in support there, caught the ball, evaded all the tacklers. The Georgians scrambling back for all their worth, but the Springboks just with space and accuracy. Kobus Reinach under the posts, 17 points to 9 with 2 3/4 minutes to go.
This is a wonderful bit of work from the South Africans. It's come through the hands of Vili Leroux and Jesse Kriel, and then it's the little tap inside from Apelele Fasi, a man who looks well experienced, but good work there by Kobus Reinach to get under the sticks with the support of Vili Leroux. Springboks 17-9 and the conversion to come.
Yeah, easy conversion here for Pollard right in front of the posts, and well done for getting out of the way of Kobus Reinach there by Vili Leroux. Because they were both going for that ball kick to the inside, and Vili Leroux passing out to Jesse Kriel, out to Apelele Fasi, who catches a bad pass and just puts it onto his right foot infield. Kobus Reinach is there. Vili Leroux tries to evade him because otherwise it would have been obstruction or accidental offside or whatever. But Kobus Reinach managing to evade the Georgian defender scrambling back and his own teammate to get that under the posts. Beautiful try. 19 points to 9 after the successful conversion. Yeah. You do the play-by-play.
So the last 2 minutes here with Etzebeth taking the restart. Don't forget, we will be bringing you our full quarter podcast. It's a cricket podcast, and we don't forget. Please also subscribe and like on YouTube and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget, you can always tweet us at OneWorldSR. Engage with us as South Africa with Apalela Fasi on the ball now. He's brought down through the catch. The ball goes through the hand of Reinach and Pollard, and the hands now of Pieter-Steph du Toit breaks through the line. He's got Kobus Reinach, and it's a terrible pass there by the South Africans. It's behind Kobus Reinach, and it's a turnover ball now as the Georgians now look to counter-attack. It looks like Kobus Reinach, rather, is on the ground there. He's gripping his shoulder.
Yeah, he must have caught somebody's leg or knee or something going down after that move where he overran his support.
There.
Yeah,
last minute
he
play.
Yeah, so Kobus Reinach overran the player there. He ran past the ball. So when the ball came to him, it was behind him. So that wasn't a bad pass. That was bad work off the ball there by Reinach. But as he went down, he must have caught somebody's knee. We'll see a replay now as Pieter-Steph du Toit breaks one tackle, then the second one, and is behind the Georgian defense line as Kobus Reinach was just too far past the ball, and then collects a Georgian defender there, his opposite number, shoulder to shoulder, and Kobus's shoulder is the one who says, not today, not for me. You're doing this on your own, Kobus. And he was just in front of Pieter-Steph there. If he had just delayed his run by half a step, he would have been through. But as he went down, he just smashes his shoulder into the defending number 9, Lobzanidze. And Kobus Reinach is worse for wear after that collision. So penalty to Georgia. It's pretty much 15 meters from the near side touchline, in between the 10 meter and 22 meter line of Georgia. The kick comes now from Abzandadze, the number 10, to the near side touchline. Kobus Reinach is up and shouting at his teammates. So he seems to be okay. So whatever damage there was very temporary. So that's good to see. And the line out will be taken by Georgia on the Springbok 10 meter line. Good penalty kick there. Solid work. Lots of movement here by the Georgian line out as they send it over the jumper to the back. And it's collected by Georgia after a bit of a contest from the Springboks. 10 meters now from the 22. Off the first phase, ball comes to number 5 over the 22 of the Springboks. And the Georgians come piling in to secure that position. Out to the far side go the Georgians over the Springbok 22 once again. Held up here by Pieter-Steph du Toit, Franco Mostert, and a few others. Has the referee called a maul? Doesn't look that way. The Georgian scrum off is digging for it in the middle of the park. 10 meters inside the 22. Goes into the pocket. Abzandadze with the drop goal. And it looks good to me. No, he's admonishing himself. That was a missed drop goal. That's the end of the first half. 19 points to 9. The Springboks lead, and squeaky bum stuff. They escaped some blushes there, Mpo, before half time.
Yes, most definitely they escaped some blushes, but it's good to see the Springboks coming back in that first half, because that's what we all want from the Springboks. It's rusty. There's a lot of butterfingers. There's a lot of scrum penalties. But the Springboks are finding a way to put themselves back into this game. So it is halftime at Loftus Versfeld. The Springboks lead 19 to 9. And Otto, we will be playing our full quota podcast. We're playing the show from last week. We are also mainly a cricketing station. We're just doing Springbok Rugby, continuing from where we left off with the World Cup last year. So please do follow us on Twitter. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, because we'll be live tomorrow with some cricketing action, the final T20. But before then, just to give you a little bit of taste of what else we have on One World Sports Radio, we've got our full quarter podcast that happens every Tuesday at 4:30, where we discuss all things cricket. We're going to be playing an episode from 2 weeks ago that discusses the state of West Indian cricket after that test series. So please do enjoy and be back with us in 15 minutes. Welcome to the Full Quota podcast, the weekly edition of the Full Quota podcast. We're on every Tuesday, and so myself and Tim are here to take you through this week's edition of the Full Quota podcast. We have a special guest lined up for you for this podcast, and so we're very excited to bring him on. But before we continue with anything, we'd like for you to remember that you can like and subscribe to this podcast. But most importantly, do tweet into us at GuerrillaSA, GUERILLASA, and at One World Sports Radio, One World SR on Twitter. But most importantly, please do press the like button on this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let me just give you a sense of where you can interact with us, mostly on this podcast. On the various One World Sports Radio platforms. We're active on all of those. So if you send us messages, we will reply. Ideally today, we do have a special guest. Tim, thank you very much for organizing. We have Mr. Roland Butcher with us, who is known around the world as the first black cricketer to represent England in international cricket. However, he is born in Barbados, and is currently working in the Caribbean and has been in the Caribbean for a few decades, looking at West Indian cricket and being a part of those structures in that side. Mr. Butcher played 3 tests for England and 3 ODIs, and he also had 12,000 first-class runs and 4,800 List A runs, which is a whole lot more than the rest of us, myself and Tim, have combined. So welcome, Mr. Butcher. Thank you very much for joining us on the Full Quota podcast.
Gentlemen, great to be here, and it's a pleasure. Looking forward to the show.
Thank you very much, Mr. Butcher. As you mentioned in our little introductions, you alluded to us being very happy at winning a Test series as South Africans, which I think we are, because we haven't won Test series in a while. It's been 4 years since we won a Test series away from home. But how did you view this Test series as a general cricket watcher and possibly a supporter of the West Indies?
Well, I think first and foremost, the Test series really was an examination of how far West Indies cricket has come in the last year or so. I always expected that it would be a very, very tough series for them. The only question was going to be whether West Indies could perform against an important South African bowling lineup, something they didn't really have to face in the last 2 series against Bangladesh and against Sri Lanka. Obviously, the win in Bangladesh was a fantastic performance based on the fact that many teams don't win in Bangladesh, even though West Indies took a new team. And really, what they did there surprised, I guess, everyone in the Caribbean in terms of their performances individually and as a team, and then more importantly, to win the series. That was followed by a series against Sri Lanka, which ended in a drawn series. And again, Sri Lanka, a side in transition, a bit better than Bangladesh, but not of the caliber of someone like South Africa, who, even though despite the problems that South Africa would have been encountering in the last 6 months, etc., in response to the problems with the board and etc., when you look at the 2 teams, you always felt that South Africa was going to give a very good account of themselves. And the only question for me was whether West Indies would be able to play to the standard to give South Africa a run for their money. And you saw actually what happened in the 2 Test matches.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think to start off with, Tim can come in through back on the back end. At the beginning of this series, I think we've seen throughout the decades West Indies cricket going through different phases, and especially at the start of 2010, there was a bit of a new rebuild. And then when Jason Holder took over, there was also some sort of another rebuild in that Test lineup. Where does West Indies cricket find itself, especially along the format, in Test cricket? Because it seems like it's a bit of a tricky situation.
Well, it's more than tricky. It's a dire situation, really. In actual fact, you can say they're really struggling. I think at this moment in time, it is possible that they could win a test match against a higher ranked team, but that to win a series against a higher ranked team at this really our team. I think the biggest problem for it certainly now has been the batting. Really, they haven't really produced the quality of batsmen that you associate with West Indies cricket of the past, and that really has been something that has let the team down consistently in all series. And again, it was evident in this series that the batting really was not up to standard. The bowling held its own, but when it runs in every innings,
Roland,
you there?
yes, I'm still here. I can see.
Okay. We lost you a bit for that last sentence.
And I lost you as well. But what I was saying is that because of the poor batting by the West Indies side, it means that the work done by the fast bowlers for the West Indies really doesn't put them in a position where they can win games, because you're getting ball out cheaply. So the bowlers are under pressure right from the beginning. They're doing a pretty good job, but because runs are not on the board, it makes their task almost impossible. And that's proven again in this series, in all 4 innings, where West Indies were only able to put together 1 half-century partnership in the entire series. 150 scored in the series, and didn't score 200 runs in an innings. Test matches with those sort of performances. So, the problem squarely is on the shoulders of the batsmen, and really they have got to shoulder all that blame for the 2 test series, the 2 test match losses.
Why do you think there's such a gap between performances in the 24 match and the test format?
I think it's quite simple. The test match format is what it is. It's a test. Obviously, it's played over 5 days. It's played with a different ball, a red ball. The Duke's ball is a ball that swings and moves off the seam. Stays shiny for much longer. Batsmen tend to leave a lot more deliveries in Test cricket. There's slips and gullies in place, and batsmen, because of the length of time of the game, invariably is very cautious in the way they play. Now, if you change to white ball cricket, which is the complete opposite, you have a white ball that doesn't stay long. It doesn't stay shiny for very long. Bowlers tend to be bowling more negatively than attacking. You've got no slips and gullies in place for any periods of time. You've got limited number of persons. Obviously, you can put in the outfield, etc., particularly in the power play overs. So it's all set up really white ball cricket for batsmen to be very aggressive and expansive. And in many ways, batsmen can play a carefree sort of game, and they'll get away with it because edges doesn't carry to slips because there's no slips. So they can go for the big drive, where, as you saw in the test matches, you go for the big drive and there's 3 slips in the gully waiting. You don't quite get it right, the ball moves away, gets the outside edge, and you're caught. So those are the differences why West Indies can be more competitive in the white ball game. They've got generally, power hitters, and as you know, in white ball cricket, particularly T20 cricket, the boundaries are generally smaller than normal cricket for the obvious reasons. They're looking for the entertainment factor, and batsmen are able to clear the boundaries more easily in white ball cricket than they can in Test cricket. So, but in Test cricket, your technique really, your technique comes under scrutiny, and they have been found wanting really in the Test match. Being able to survive good sustained fast bowling for a period of time has proven to be a real problem.
I think that's an interesting point that you make in terms of being able to sustain good fast bowling for a very long period of time. I'm going to take you back to probably when you were playing, and then probably bring it closer to today. How has the first class game transformed, and that's the 4-day game, transformed in West Indies over time? Because West Indies produced a world-beating team in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, but somehow that seemingly has decreased. What is the cause of that? Is it the level of quality or the level of quantity of players coming through the system that may not be enough, and then so it just decreases the quality of the cricket?
There are many reasons. What I would say back in certainly the time when I played in the 70s, 80s, 90s, the cricket was certainly a lot tougher and better in the Caribbean. What I would also say is that during that period, you also played on better pitches. When I say better pitches, you had much quicker, bouncier pitches. The bounce was true. There were a lot of fast bowlers. So, it's something that you played on a regular basis. So you became used to it. And obviously the players were able to perform. I think what has happened over the last 25 years or so, the pitches in the Caribbean generally has been pretty poor, actually. They've been very slow, low.
And welcome back to your One World Sports Radio broadcast. We are the only option on the radio for you for this South Africa-Georgia game. If you want to hear the rest of that podcast, you're going to have to find us on YouTube. And if you do, don't forget to like that video, like this one, subscribe. Tweet us at OneWorldSR. We want to hear your thoughts. We want you involved in the conversation. Otto, what did you think about the South African first half? I think Otto might still be muted as South Africa.
Sorry. Yes.
Good to self-mute. You don't want to hear background noise. Here we go. First half. Give us your thoughts.
Yes. So scratchy start, but we expected that. I thought that the Springboks looked good when they eliminate the errors, but ill discipline from both sides, giving us a bit of I would say just a frustrating 20-25 minutes of rugby there, and then things started to click for the Springboks a little bit, and the same for Georgia at times. But I'm looking forward to the second half. If the Springboks can get that second gear and third gear and maybe get onto the highway, so to speak, they might just smash the Georgians here completely. Georgia, they need to just keep their discipline. They just need to keep their discipline in control and just give a good account of themselves here. The difference between the two sides is starting to show.
Absolutely. All the pressure would have been on the Springboks coming into this game, world champions. There's always that tag, and as well as, rugby championship champions. It's something that you could almost immediately trip at the first hurdle, Otto. I mean, this is one that South Africa haven't, 608 days. We keep saying that, but it's a long time without Test rugby. And how easy is it for the South Africans to trip at the first hurdle before you've even gotten started?
Yeah, I think that goes to respect. Respect for your opposition, respect for the team you're playing for and the nation that you represent, and also respect for the players opposing you and the nation that they represent. I think that's because rugby is a team sport. It's a full contact sport. If your head isn't there, if you're not willing to go all the way, you're going to run into trouble. So I think that certainly is showing from the Springboks that they are here to play. They're not taking Georgia lightly. And the same thing goes for Georgia. They've been giving a good account of themselves. It took the Springboks 4 lineouts to get over their line at the end of that first half. So they can build on that, can Georgia. The Springboks just need to find that extra gear. They need to show why they are the world champions, and let's see if they can do that. Andre Pollard's got the ball in his hands. Are you going to lead us off with the play-by-play there?
I'm happy to do so. Remember, we spoke a little bit earlier in this game about the impact the South African bench is going to play, and it's going to be a vital one here, as we saw Rusty Erasmus giving some last-minute instructions to Siya Kolisi and Aphelele Fasi, as the immediate play from the kickoff is a knock-on by, it looks like Roscoe Speckman, and South Africa having to do a bit of work here in the counter-ruck. It wasn't officially knocked on. It doesn't look like the referee's arm is not out for the South Africans, but Lobjanidze with a box kick inside his own 22. There's a swirling ball, and is it ever going to come down? I don't know if we did see it come down. It did come down in the end. I think it's gone over the far side touchline. It was a bit of a dummy from the cameraman there. They zoomed out wide with the box kick, and they've never really brought it back in, as it looks like there's a bit of a change here for the South Africans, or is it just somebody's put a scrum cap on at half time there, Otto?
I'm not sure, but I can talk to you about the disappearing ball. Bonge Mbonambi is going to put the ball into the line out on the far side of the field, 3 meters
it looks
the
like
Georgia
Marvin
10-meter
Ori.
line.
Yeah, Marvin Ori is on the park here for South Africa, as it looked like it was a bit of a change there at the half-time break. We just saw a South African that didn't look too familiar, but Marvin Ori is the man who is coming on the park here. He's looking like he's replaced Eben Etzebeth. The throw goes now to Kwagga Smith. It's a poor one by the South Africans. It's won by the Georgians immediately with Sharakadze, the Georgian captain, as he swings it out, and there's an opportunity here for the Georgians to build on a couple of phases, as it looks like Melikidze is the man who took the ball into contact there. Lobjanidze is marshalling his men right and left of him. It looks like he's setting up for a box kick. He does. There's a South African, 3 South Africans waiting under it, but Willie Leroux is the man who is initially the one who's called for it. He's got support from Roscoe Speckman. Kobus Reinach to Peter Steph du Toit on his left-hand side. Reinach in once again, and he throws it to Pollard. Pollard to Trevor Nyakane. Nyakane's got some support from his partners, Oxenchair, who's back on the park. Well, he's in on the park, rather. It was Nyakane who went off, but Willie Leroux now in the middle of the park. Peter Steph looking for the dummy to try and go the other side of Jalagonia. He's got Roscoe Speckman in the ruck there with him. The referee is pointing for something to happen here, but Kobus Reinach manages to get there in the end. Oxenchair finds Pollard. There's a dummy run there. Jesse Creel with Francois Steyn on his left-hand side. He switches the play inside. Francois Steyn hammering through that advantage line and just shoving off a Georgian defender before eventually being brought down. And there's eventually South Africa are guilty of holding up the ball there. Fantastic bit of work there from Nini Yashvili on Franco Mostert, who was the guilty man of not releasing the ball there. Wonderful work there by the Georgian fullback.
Yeah, excellent defense here by Georgia. They get the penalty to clear their lines, and they do that a little bit further down the field, and it takes the play to the near side touchline, just about on the halfway mark. The Springboks trying to muscle the Georgians into submission, and the Georgians having none of it. They're fighting back hard.
Absolutely. Wonderful work there from Frans Steyn to beat the lock forward of Gigauri, but he wasn't able to beat Kveseladze as he was brought down into contact there. Great bit of tackle. I mean, that's a massive tackle. I mean, Frans Steyn is 100 plus kgs for a center, and he's been hit by a bus there in Kveseladze, as looks like there's a bit of a double sub here from the Georgians. Chikoidze, the replacement hooker, is on the park, and he replaces Bregvadze, as South Africa don't quite read the line-out, as good bit of work there from Lobjanidze. He gets it through to the winger of Tabusadze. He beats one man, beats another, and the ball unfortunately bobbles out and goes out, as South Africa will look to have the throw here. Bit of good work there from the Georgians from their own throw there, Otto.
Yeah, the inside ball from Lobjanidze, the scrum half, to the right winger on the near side of the field, Akaki Tabudzadze, and making some good ground there for Georgia. They have the Springboks down into behind their own 10-meter line, and that will be a Springbok throw, I think. Yes, it's Bongi Mbonambi. And you tell me when you see the throw.
Absolutely. Franco Mostert is directing traffic there from the middle. Oxenchair turns around. Maybe there's a quick throw. It's a dummy jump there by Marvin Ori. Franco Mostert takes it in the end and is brought down immediately. And then South Africa getting a penalty because the Georgians didn't play fair there in the line-out. What happened there, Otto?
Yeah, so that was a penalty for interfering with the jumper and the supporters of the jumper. So that's not allowed. You have to wait for the man to get back down to earth before you can get physical. So Bongi Mbonambi will take a line out here after the kick by Andre Pollard for that penalty in the line out conceded by Georgia, and they are on their own 10-meter line. Bongi Mbonambi will throw in.
Couple of early disciplinary issues here for Georgia. They have defended so well in the last little bit here. Immediately the throw goes to Marvin Ori. There's a maul that forms. Bongi Mbonambi joining in. The referee is happy with it, but wonderful bit of work there from the Georgians who are hammering the Springboks backwards here. It's not just a foregone conclusion that the Springboks will dominate in the ruck there. There's a bit of directing of traffic by Kobus Reinach, who's just kind of going along with it as the South Africans have the counter shove on here as they get back over the 10-meter line. And it looks like there's a bit of a break in play. It comes out now as Reinach goes to the wonderful work of Francois Steyn, who finds Marvin Ori in the offload there. The South Africans looking to bash this Georgian defense line and work them hard as Willie Leroux is the man who joins the defensive line. Wonderful bit of work there by Tabusadze. He's worked so hard in this game, has the right winger from the Georgians as South Africa take it into contact in the middle of the field. Reinach to his left-hand side. He finds Jesse Creel, who's got Francois Steyn in support, but immediately runs into the brick wall of the flanker Saginadze. And there's a bit of a hold up there as South Africa have the advantage there. It's a bit of poor work from the Georgians. The seventh phase now as the ball goes through the hands. Willie Leroux finds Siya Kolisi on the outside. He's got Roscoe Speckman as an option who steps into the scrum half position. He finds a Marvin Ori who is held up just over the 10-meter line of the Georgians. Reinach to Pollard. Pollard to Jesse Creel, to Francois Steyn. He's got Peter Steff on his outside, but he finds Apalela Fasi, who's held up once again by Tabusadze, a man who's having an absolute screamer of a game. Near side touchline as Mostert gets it to Pollard, to Ori, to Bongi Mbonambi, who looks like he's in a bit of space. He offloads it to Willie Leroux. There's a huge gap there, and the poor throw there from Willie Leroux means there's a hold-up, but Siya Kolisi does the collection work. He finds Roscoe Speckman, who's held up there. It looks like there's a bit of a maul going pick and go by Kwagga Smith, who's got some support from the South Africans, but we're going to go back for the high tackle by the Georgians there. A couple of disciplinary issues there for the Georgians, but South Africa should have made more of that, Otto.
Yes, indeed. You called it there, Dave, play by play, exactly as it happened. And the high tackle by Georgia means that the Springboks will get a penalty now on the 10-meter line of Georgia and near about 20-25 meters from the near side of the field where Andre Pollard will take the penalty kick and send it flying across the touchline on the near side on the 5-meter line of the Georgians. The Springboks playing from right to left, from south to north as we're looking at the field there. So just a high tackle there around the neck of Willie Leroux. Good face play, aggressive defense by the Georgians. But like I said, just Springboks need to find that extra gear, man. They can play a lot better than they are. The nerves have to be gone by now, and they need to smash these guys now.
Definitely. The throw now going to Franco Mostert as South Africa look to set up a maul. It's held up there by the Georgians. Pick and go by Bongi Mbonambi. He gets past one man, but is immediately brought down by Sharikadze. There's a pick and go here from the South Africans. They're trying to throw the ball wide as quick as they can. Kobus Reinach to it's Trevor Nyakane, rather, who's got some support from Peter Steff. Advantage for the South Africans. Bongi Mbonambi is short by about 4 meters from the try line. Kobus Reinach looking left and looking right. He goes right. He goes to Franco Mostert, who's got Sio Khaleesi for support. Mostert bringing it back. Kobus Reinach bringing it back in field for Kobus Reinach. Not Kobus Reinach, Kwagga Smith rather, to be brought down. He's held up, and the South Africans will go back for the penalty once again. It's poor bit of work there from the Georgians. The guilty party from Georgia is Melikidze, the prop forward, and South Africa are right on the 5-meter line of the South Africans. Do you think they're going to think about a scrum option here, or they're going to kick for the corner?
Well, it's the Georgians are taking their options away because they are really defending very well. So a new front row will come on for South Africa. We see
Mark,
17,
Kitsoff,
16,
and Malherbe.
18. And so
3 men on the park.
Yeah, so it's a penalty to South Africa for offside there, and it's once again inside the 5-meter line, but still the Springboks needing the penalties, they're needing the phases, they're needing the set pieces to get over the line against Georgia. So that's a good sign for Georgia, and something that the Springboks will need to talk about. And we can forgive them for having not played together for a long time. We have high standards for our national rugby team. That's where I will leave that for now. Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's possibly a tactic of the Georgians to disrupt the Springbok play because of the way that the South Africans were looking so fluid when they got the ball through the hands, and I suppose the only way they can shut down South African momentum is through the the penalties, the forced errors, if you will. South Africa will pack down now for the scrum. Otto, are you happy to take over with the calling for the next little bit?
Yes. So the next 10 minutes is my turn. So it's 19 points to 9. So we see one of the Georgians there getting some attention. That is number 6.
Spandarashvili.
Is that Spandarashvili? Okay, so he's the number 6. Okay, so Ilya Spandarashvili, number 6, is hobbling behind the Georgian try line. And he got his ankle rolled there trying to defend against Bongi and Bonambi and the other Springboks coming through. But I don't think that was the incident that they're showing us. So the Springboks have a scrum. They've elected for the scrum. Dave, you called it. Right in front of the posts. It's brand new forward 3 there for front row for the Springboks. So that would be Malcolm Mark, Stephen Kitsoff and Frans Malherbe. And there's some disruption here with the scrum, the referee not being happy with the way the guys are standing or doing something. So let's see if they can get the scrum done. Georgia haven't replaced they have replaced at least their loose head prop. So Frans Malherbe.
And their hooker.
Yeah, so Stephen Kitsoff going up against Yaparidze. And Katiashvili is the new hooker for Georgia, as this one's put in by Reinach. Solid scrum, it looks like they're by the Springboks, but the referee says we'll have a reset. Both front rows going straight down almost immediately. So, replacement tight head, Luka Yaparidze for Georgia up against the loose head from South Africa, Stephen Kitsoff. And on the tight head side, it looked like Frans Malherbe just managed to get his opposition prop to roll his shoulder in there, but those are difficult decisions for the referees. It's almost a lottery. It's very difficult to describe to people why the penalties go the way they do, but we'll do the best we can. 19 points to 9, 52 minutes gone. South Africa will set the scrum here on the 5-meter line of Georgia, right in front of the posts. Immediately on that contact, the front rows go down and the Springboks get the penalty. Some word exchange there between the two hookers. And
do they understand each other? I'd love to know. When
these guys all play in Europe, man. They live in Europe. These are professional rugby players.
But even with the accent,
5 languages.
No, I don't doubt they speak English. I'm concerned about whether or not the accent they can be picked up by. Georgian accent is Eastern European.
It's quite thick.
I imagine it's quite thick.
Well, I mean, if you're pointing to somebody, and sticking your finger in their, pointing your forefinger at their nose, they pretty much know what you're trying to say,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
These two backs will set once again. After that penalty, the Springboks elected for another scrum. They set the scrum now. Kobus Reinach puts it in. Solid scrum by the Springboks, moving steadily forward. Being kept in by Kwagga Smith. The referee has no option. It's another scrum penalty against the Georgians. And Kobus Reinach mocks an attack there, quick tap there. And the referee goes to his pocket. Who's he going to... Is he reaching for his pocket? He's got the Georgian captain, Merab Sharakadze. In audience there with Siakolisi saying something to them. We are not allowed to broadcast the sound or the visuals from this game, but we'll tell you what's going on. Yes,
I think the discussion there, Otto, is he's just saying to specifically to the Georgians, have a word with your pack forwards and be stern with them, because once more, and it's a card. I think it's frustrating when we see stuff like that happening, and we just getting some information now that Trevor Nyakane obviously passing his HIA, the concussion or ding-dong test, and Kobus Reinach is also fine. So good to see that those two are doing well. Obviously, we've just seen the front row come off here as the scrum feed happening right now, middle of the park.
Oh, even more solid scrum by the Springboks. And the ball being held at the back by Kwagga Smith. Picks up now, goes towards the far side and crashes over the goal line of the Georgians, just to the far side of the uprights. And he has got a try for the Springboks. The score moves on to 24 points to 9. Kwagga Smith. Nice one.
First career international try for Kwagga Smith. It was a long time coming. You could see the South Africans hammering the Georgians and re-electing on 2 occasions to scrum once again. They were pushed hard with the Georgians, and because they were so focused on making sure they got the scrum right, they didn't quite pick that up as Kwagga Smith wheels around the right-hand side of that scrum to dot down right next to the posts, and the conversion thereafter is an easy one for Handré Pollard.
Just pinged it over. So it's 26 points to 9. And now the Springboks need to open the taps. The Georgians will have to chase the game. They're not going to kick any more penalties at goal. At this point in the game, they will have the kickoff. And they do so now through Abzandadze into the middle of the field, collected by Valileru outside the 22, and got some support there from his teammates. Reinach swings it to the near side, where it is stopped by the Georgians behind the 22 of the Springboks. At the back there is, Yankees. Herschel Yankees is on now for Kobus Reinach. He kicks the box kick into the air now. Yankees, the ball floats to the near side touchline, and it's collected by the Georgian player there on the near side. It's not the right wing. He's up on his feet. The ball is passed inside, and first phase play here by the Georgians. The second phase play onto the 10-meter line of the Springboks. Ball back behind now to the right winger, who comes in for some work. Tackle behind the advantage line. Lobzanidze sends it out to the first receiver there for the Georgians in the middle of the park. They're back almost onto their halfway line. They swing it to the far side. The number 7 goes in, Zaganadze. He's well stopped there. Slow ball for the Georgians. Lobzanidze picks it up now, sends it to his forward men, they get driven back by the South Africans, back behind their own halfway line. Lobzanidze once again swings it back to the number 10, Abzandadze, who sends a high ball into the air to the near side touchline, where it's collected by Handré Pollard, and now by Peter Steph de Toy supporting his number 10 there on the 10-meter line of the Georgians, and into scrum off is Apali Lefasi. Kitsov takes the ball up to the 10-meter line of Georgia, and Herschel Yankees is there. He's going to send a high one up, it looks like. Indeed it does, from the 15-meter line on the near side, caught by Nanyasvili, the Georgian fullback, who hands it off to his number 8, who smashes into a few Springboks on the 10-meter line of Georgia, but the referee calls them back to the near side 15-meter line for a penalty to the Springboks for obstruction. And
wonderful bit of work there from the Springboks to get through that. Absolutely, and Pollard is going to kick for the corner. Good bit of work by the South Africans. A little bit of ill discipline continuing to be the bane of Georgia's existence. I think it's almost frustrating for a genuine rugby fan, as we see the number 13 there for Georgia, Kvetsaladze, and number 16 Choikze, the guilty parties there, as they blocked their own man Niniashvili from doing so, as we see a change for the South Africans in Damien Willemse on the park now for the Springboks.
And this line out is set well by Malcolm Marx, who's got the ball now at the back, and that surely is another collapse by the Georgians. Yes, the referee has his arm out. Malcolm Marx wrestling for the ball there, 6 meters, 7 meters out now to Stephen Kitsoff in the middle of the park, gets brought down about 7 meters out. Peter Steph du Toit swings it out to somebody there, looks like Wacha Smith, who got badly tackled back. Herschel Yankees into Franco Mostert, swings it out to Andre Pollard over the 22, dabs the kick in behind, and who's there for the Springboks? Looks like Damien Willemse. Herschel Yankees dives over, and he's got the try for South Africa, about 15, 16 meters from the near side touchline on the left-hand side as we look at the field. Herschel Yankees gets over the line. That is 31 points to 9 now, with 58 minutes gone, 58 and a half minutes gone in this match. That is much better from the Springboks, just finishing all those moves.
Well worked there, Springbok try. Good bit of stuff there from you saw the Andre Pollard just kicking it through the gap there, and it was a matter of inevitability when Damien Willemse was brought down about 2 meters short. Herschel Yankees, the man who scored a brace on debut against New Zealand, I think it was, and eventually a World Cup winner, but he darts around the ruck there to score South Africa's fourth try, I think is fourth or fifth rather of the evening. Fourth, sorry, my mistake. As Andre Pollard has had 3 from 4 this evening, just the 3 conversions.
Yes, that's right. Has to be the 5th try, because this kick will make the score 33 to 9 with the 1 conversion missed and no penalties kicked. So that's 5 tries to South Africa and none so far to Georgia, just the 3 penalties in the first half. Beautiful work there by Damien Willemse, following up on that kick. A nice support play by Yankees with nobody in behind the ruck there for Georgia. He just dove over the line for the try there. Easy as you like. Teamwork.
Absolutely.
Makes the dream work.
As we head up to the hour mark, the South African team leading 33 to 9. The kickoff, they're going to Franco Mostert, who collects it now deep in his own half. There's a 22 just inside the 22. It looks like a bit of an injury there for Tabosadze as he rolls away awkwardly. Herschel Yankees with the box kick immediately chased down there, but nobody could get anything on it by Saginadze, the flanker, and it doesn't go very far, as the South Africans will have to deal with a throw on the near side of the park, just in front of Wayne Barnes, the assistant referee. As it looks like here, it is the right wing for the Georgians, Tabosadze, a man who's had a wonderful game this evening, who is struggling with some pain in his left shoulder. I think it might have been in contact there, as the South Africans will take a drinks break. Otto, how have you found the South Africans, their play in the first 20 minutes here of the second half?
It's getting better. It's looking a lot better. It really shows, and we've talked about it before. Looking at the cricket players, obviously we broadcast a lot of cricket, but you could see in the start of the what did they call it, the Mzansi Super Rugby or whatever, they had a name for it, and then we had the Currie Cup last year, which was sort of a we just want to play as much as we can type of thing. The players looked rusty. Game fitness in rugby is a real thing. Georgia throws this one in.
This is immediately through to the 21 Aparasidze, who has come on as the replacement scrummy. Aparasidze throws it wide now to the man who was just down, Tabusadze. He is immediately run over by a South African pairing of Franco Mostert and Steven Kitshoff. Wonderful bit of work there by Aparasidze to throw it left-hand side, but immediately the South Africans are rushing in their defense and the timing has gotten better. Wonderful bit of work by the South Africans, but there's an overlap on the outside. There's a stab through by Niniashvili, and a bit of work here by Willie Leroux to clean that up at the back, and he kicks that out, and Georgia will have a throw on probably the 10-meter line of the Springboks. Bit of hesitancy and a bit of nerves there from the South Africans as they were put under pressure, but I stand corrected. In all of that, we missed that there was an advantage for the Springboks. So Andre Pollard will have the opportunity to kick this out, and South Africa will get the throw as well. As I didn't really pick that up. It was the 12th penalty from the Georgians, and South Africa only conceding 8. Just having a look here from the Georgians, where the infringement came, but it looks like it might have been.
It must have been earlier. I think it was an offside maybe or something that was picked up by the assistant referees because Georgia was allowed to play for a while before the game was stopped there. So Malcolm Marx now throws the ball in.
He finds Franco Mostert in the middle of the line out. Sio Kolisi pops out the back. He immediately finds the debutant Jasper Visa, who's come onto the park. Wonderful bit of stuff for him. First touch as Marvin Ori collects, and Herschel Jantjies throws to his left-hand side. He's got Kitshoff with some support outside in Damian Willemse. There's a massive contact there from the South Africans. Wonderful bit of work in not much space there from Herschel Jantjies, who finds Apalela Fasu, who's brought down just 2 meters inside the touchline. He finds once again a good bit of work there from Herschel Jantjies to get quickly at the back of the ruck. He is immediately stumbled as the ball goes to Frans Malherbe, who bumbles it, and the Georgians are going to get a penalty here for a knock on. That was a bit of ugly rugby. The passage of play there is not something that we would like to see, as Elton Jantjies, the other Jantjies, is now on the park. 400.
Yes, indeed. So he's going to take over the pivot role. This is essential. We have to go into the World Cup with at least 2 or 3, what the New Zealanders call first receivers or second 5/8s, pivots or whatever you want to call the number 10. Andre Pollard, exactly, is off the field. Good night with the boot for him so far. And Elton Jantjies is more than capable of carrying on where he left off. And Jantjies is a bit more of a running fly-off, a bit more exciting, a bit more of a chip kick, a bit more of a kick pass type of player. So this is going to be cool with Apelele Fassi and Roscoe Speckman on the wings. Why do you pick those guys on the wings and never give them the ball? So Jantjies is going to say, no, I'll give it to them. They must just run and catch it.
Absolutely, and somebody that is probably in that same pool is a Morne Steyn, a man who's well experienced in that position at number 10. So going into the line series, you know, it's something that South Africa will be mindful of with Herschel Jantjies, Kobus Reinach, and another man who everybody loves is Faf de Klerk, the blonde bombshell, who's also not playing in this game. And we've spoken about it earlier as we just look at a couple of Apelele Fassi highlights, how important it is to, you know, guys who are not playing, but how important, you mentioned it also now, to have multiple options for the same position as South Africa have now to defend the scrum. Wonderful bit of pop and go there from the number 8, Jalagonia, as Georgia are able to get closer to their own 22. There's a quick throw there by the man standing in as scrum half, Cheshvili, is doing the work there as the substitute scrummy Aparasidze is able to come back and collect. He's got some time now as he sets up a box kick, and he does do so as the ball goes out probably around the 10-meter line of the Georgians. Georgians feeling a little bit of pressure, but I'm excited to see whether or not the South Africans can now, once they get the possession, as they do now have it, can they make it count? Because that is the important thing. Once you have possession, you're able to build phases, and the difference between good teams and great teams are those that can put their foot on the gas.
Exactly. And the Springboks have the opportunity now inside the 10-meter line of Georgia. They have the throw into the line out.
The throw going not as South Africa would have planned, but inevitably a wonderful bit of tackling there from Aparasidze. He's absolutely hammered Herschel Jantjies about 5 meters back as Kickoff does the scrum half duties, as Jasper Visser gets another touch in his debut game coming off the bench. He's the third Springbok debutant, and trying to snipe around the outside of the ruck was Herschel Jantjies. Looks like Frans Malherbe is looking for some options, but he's not the man to come into scrum half. It's Jantjies Elton who collects it, who passes it on to Malcolm Marx and then to Apelele Fasi. It's a poor pass from Kickoff as he does the cleanup work. Jantjies back on his feet to Jantjies once again. Jesse Kriel having to go behind himself there, and a bit of a bumble with that pass from the South Africans, as good work there in trying to restart as we have a bit of aerial ping pong. Knocked backwards by Willie Leroux inside his own 22. He's got support on his left-hand side as the Elton Jantjies passes it off to Peter Steph du Toit, who's brought down at the halfway mark, just inside that 15-meter line from the side side nearest to us, the South Africans' left-hand touchline. Working hard are the Georgians, but it's a guilty face of the hooker there, Choitse, who's asking the question of the referee. South Africa immediately kicking out, but can he be that surprised, Otto? I mean, he's clearly come in from the wrong side there.
Maybe he's not used to referees at this level, and maybe he's just over-eager. But that was a bad mistake by, how do you actually say this? Chkoidze. Chkoidze.
Yeah, Malcolm Marx immediately to Franco Mostert, who is the collector in this instance. Malcolm Marx now joining the back of the maul. South Africa are hammering these Georgians. They really don't have an option, do the Georgians, to counter this South African maul. The ball is held up 3 meters short. Jantjies to Willemse. Willemse is brought down by Abjandadze, who immediately gets rid of the ball, and it is number 22 for South Africa, Elton Jantjies, who's brought down. Cross kick now from Herschel Jantjies. Roscoe Speckman with an opportunity. He's caught it, but immediately is bundled out of play, and he's frustrated with himself, and rightfully should be. He had an opportunity to throw a dummy here, throw a dummy there, and bring South Africa another try. He doesn't manage to, but because of the initial Georgian error, South Africa will have an opportunity once again.
Yeah, you see, this is what I like. The decision-making here is what I like about the Springboks play there. When you have the advantage for a penalty, then you try the fancy stuff. And they try to rush it a bit there, just a little bit more patience from the players. Yeah, like I said, I mean, high standards that we hold these guys to. They haven't played together for so long. And they had 6 or 7 months where they were not allowed to train by law. So that's a big impact that it made on our rugby players, as Malcolm Marx puts this one into the lineup.
Absolutely. He's looking for a receiver. He throws this in now. It's collected by Franco Mostert once again as South Africa look to drive home the advantage with the maul. They've run over 3 Georgians. It looks like they're going to touch down. They do. And Malcolm Marx gets South Africa's 6th try, 38-9, 68th minute. It was a textbook maul there, Otto. Nothing that the Georgians could do.
Yeah, they've already lost some players to penalty. They already lost a player to a yellow card, so they knew they had to keep this ball up. Number 8 actually tried to pull that down, but the Springboks managing to evade the illegal sacking of the maul there, and Malcolm Marx doing what he does. Really, those tries by these hookers have to have an asterisk next to them. How many were at the back of a rolling maul with 9 guys? pushing 8 other guys out of the way. Elton Jantjies now with his first attempt at goal. No pressure, Elton. But this guy works hard on his kicking game. He's improved so much since he started his career. It's a totally different league that he's in from when he started playing for the Lions at Super Rugby level, and he sends this one sailing through the posts.
Too easy for the Springboks. 40-9. This is exactly what the South Africans would be expecting. And for the next 10 minutes, my partner Ozmaster will be calling every single moment of this game. Don't forget, you can tweet us at OneWorldSR. We are happy to engage with you. And also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. We're bringing you cricket, the 5th game of the South Africa-West Indies T20 series in the Caribbean. South Africa and the West Indies are 2-2 leading into the final game, and it's important for the World Cup that is coming up.
Kickoff gathered by Franco Mostert about 10 meters outside the Springbok 22 on the near side of the field, and Herschel Jantjies lining up the box kick now. It's a shortish one. There's a little bit of a contest from Apalele Fasi, but gathered well by the Georgians. No, it's the one back by the Springboks into the hand of Jantjies on the far side, out to Peter Steftotoy in the middle of the park, crosses the halfway line now where he's brought down. Herschel Jantjies out to Elton Jantjies, out to Bessie Creel, out to Roscoe Speckman on the far side, dances infield, back to, not sure who that is, inside the Georgian half. They go trying to throw the ball around here. The Springboks, Elton Jantjies sends this one off the left boot, high up into the air. It's going to come down outside the Georgian 22. Excellent gather by Nyanyashvili for the Georgians. They secure possession, and the referee is going to stop play here for obstruction, I think, against the Georgians once again. Oh, that was such a nice take by Nyanyashvili.
Yeah, now there's a bit of handbags, a bit of argy-bargy, pushing and shoving. Willie Leroux's getting involved here with Chaishvili. I think there's needs to be a bit of intervention here. There's a couple of words being exchanged between the South Africans and the Georgians, and I think the South Africans have had enough of the ill discipline of the Georgians. They, on a number of occasions, have been guilty of doing things that, are not within the spirit of of the game, you would think, as it is eventually broken up. Jasper Wiese going against Chaishvili along with Willie Leroux. But it's frustration from the Springboks, especially Willie Leroux, who's having a couple of words with the Georgians, because Apalele Fasi was trying to contest that one, and immediately the Georgians, ill-disciplined and...
you can see some of the more... Yeah, that was a shove off the ball there, shoving Apalele Fasi.
And then throws his hands up in the... it was unnecessary. There was a late tackle there and a bit of words there from the Springboks.
Yeah, it's a bit of this and that, and then taking on Willie Leroux while Malcolm Marx is right there. Malcolm Marx is going to put this ball in about 8 meters out of the Georgian try line. He gets to the middle of the line out. Franco Mostert sets the ball already in the hand of Malcolm Marx, and the Georgians trying to disrupt, but the Springboks solid and shoving and going over the 5-meter line now. Just about 14 meters in from the near side touchline, the ball is stationary. Herschel Jantjies sends it out to Damian Willemse, who powers his way through. He's just short, hands the ball back to Herschel Jantjies, who's momentarily disrupted there. Ball out the back from Malcolm Marx, goes wide now to Roscoe Speckman, but it was passed over the touchline on the far side. I'm not sure who sent that pass. It looks like it
was Elton Jantjies.
Or Elton Jantjies.
But once giving again, a thumbs up to his wing there. Yeah,
no, that's fine. Try it again. Next time you'll get it right. The move there by the Springboks, just sending the ball back to the back line, some distracting runners there in front of the ball carrier. Willie Leroux admonishing his teammates there. He's a bit of a drama queen sometimes, really. 40.29 with 7.5 minutes to go. And now we have a Georgian line out.
I think he's actually remonstrating with the referee. I think he's remonstrating with the referee because you mentioned that Herschel Jantjies had been disrupted. So he's saying, again, there's an issue of interference.
Oh, and this line-out ball taken by Georgia, tapped back and smashed. Georgia on their own goal line now, and that is Abrazidze kicking the ball out to Roscoe Speckman on the far side. Apolele Fasi gets taken down in the middle of the field, and now the ball comes back to Roscoe Speckman on the 10-meter line, coming towards the near side of the field, almost breaking through the tackle there. He's brought down 10 meters from the near side touchline and over the 10-meter line of Georgia, but they've managed to secure possession at Georgia just outside their own 22, moving towards the middle of the field. And that same man, Abrazidze, will now look for the clearance kick, taking the pressure off his fly half. And he does so now, but it's chased down by Marvin Ori, breaking loose of the ruck and disrupting the kick there. But the referee says, no, you cannot do that. That was offside. So Marvin Ori starting his run there, passing the last man's feet before the 9 picked up the ball, and so he's offside. And so that will be Abzandadze punting this ball down the field, getting the Springboks away from their goal line, and Georgia breathes a sigh of relief. But the Springboks looking more and more dangerous. Some things are starting to click one by one. Yeah, Marvin Ori was inside the ruck there. He had to retreat behind the last man's feet before advancing again, and he was offside. So Georgia have to put into the line out just about 3 meters past their own 10-meter line, and there's some pushing and shoving in the line out, and stolen by Franco Mostert out to Malcolm Marks, who passes it to Yankees, out to Jesse Kriel, who straightens and almost beats the tackle there, and through goes Marvin Ori in support, and he's a bit isolated, but manages to stay on his feet. He's 2 meters from the far side touchline. The ball comes infield now to Malcolm Marks, who's helped there over the 10-meter line of Georgia. Herschel Yankees out to Elton Yankees, back behind the first line by Yankees to Damien Willems, who comes dancing inside and tries to wiggle his way through. It's in the hands now of the number 24 South Africa, Kickoff, out to Elton Yankees, out to Willie Leroux, out to that looks like Sia Kolisi on the far side, but I might be wrong there. Herschel Yankees into Kickoff now, past the 10-meter line, muscling forward is Stephen Kickoff. He's 20 meters from the far side touchline. Yankees in to Yankees, who crashes the ball in. Elton goes to the middle of the park. This one out to Willie Leroux, first receiver, out to Peter Steph de Toy. They now 10 meters from the 22 are the Springboks. To the near side, they come again. Yankees into the hands of Willems, it looks like, might be. Yankees to Marvin Ori, and they're on the 22 of the Georgians, almost in the middle of the park. Yankees out to Elton Yankees, who kicks the cross kick now for Roscoe Speckman to chase on the far side, but the ball beats the man there. Once again, Sia Kolisi standing there on the right wing on the far side touchline, and the ball goes over the touchline. It will be another line out to Georgia, but these replacements, South Africa are playing a different game here. They are playing proper running rugby.
Absolutely, there's clearly a difference.
Keeping the ball off the ground. Yeah, keep the ball in hand. Yeah.
A difference in approach play for both of these teams. There was 10 phases in that last passage of play, and it's clearly there's a physical game up front, but more of a flair game in the second half, if you would call it that, after the substitutions are made. Otto, do you think Jacques Nienaber and his team will be looking to show all of their prowess and all of their options, attacking options, when it comes to showing their hand ahead of the Lion series? They want to test those things that they've been working on in training, but they don't want to show too much to the British and Irish Lions, who will be keeping a key eye on these games.
Yeah, the thing is with South African rugby, as we see Georgia putting the line out in on the 22 on the far side of the field, and Georgia set the maul. The referee calls line out over. Georgia's maul is a bit disjointed, so it gives us Springbok team an opportunity to disrupt legally. Georgia take it down to the ground themselves, but Marvin Ori, it seems, has been punished for something there. Looked okay to me. One of the Georgian players there is crying in agony. That is one of
your replacement Booker.
Yeah, so the number 16 there for Georgia is receiving some attention. Look, you know exactly what you're going to get against the Springboks. The question is, how are you going to stop it? And that's the way South Africa play rugby. So you can have your moves and your things that you try on the training field, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But really, our strength is in just sucking the life out of our opposition with our physicality, and then allowing the X-factor players to come in off the bench or the ones that are on the field to start expressing themselves. So Georgia, it seems, have had a penalty. They have the line out on the far side of the field on the South African 10-meter line, and quickly in there, back to the hooker, go the Georgians, and they play this ball out behind the ball once again, quickly keeping the ball away from the South African forwards. Nice clean-out work there by Georgia. Pick and go by the tight forwards, making it across the 10-meter line, but Malcolm Marx rips it away to Stephen Kickoff. Franco Mostert now goes in. He's got the ball 15 meters from the far side touchline, just inside the 10-meter line of the Springboks. Herschel Jantjies out to Malcolm Marx, who's helped by Marvin Orrie there in the middle of the field. Herschel Jantjies to the near side, to Elton Jantjies, wide out to Willie Leroux, to the near side. Jesse Kriel manages to make some meters there, it looks like. Herschel Jantjies into the middle of the field, where it's taken up once again by Jasper Wiese, and Jesse Kriel tries to smash through there. He's 2 meters from the near side touchline, goes to ground. Herschel Jantjies there gets the ball, but tries to get the ball, but the referee says that the man there, Jesse Kriel was hanging onto the ball. He was a bit isolated, so the referee says he's hanging onto the ball on the ground. 40 points to 70 seconds to go in the match. Georgia have a penalty on the near side touchline inside their own half, and once again Abzandadze will be trying to banana kick this as far down the field as he can. They were inside the Georgians 10-meter line, just outside the 22, when Jesse Kriel just got isolated there. Once again, Niniashvili, the fullback, going onto the ball there, winning the penalty for Georgia. Number 15 and number 14 for Georgia have been outstanding. Niniashvili and Sabutadze have been the standout players for this Georgian team. They really showed themselves the best version of themselves. Probably not. I mean, probably these guys can play better than this. They also probably haven't had a lot of time together, I'm guessing. I don't know. Georgia put this ball into the line out on the Springbok 10-meter line. Into the midfield goes the number 11, Tabladze, who's taken down. The replacement halfback gets a half break here over the 10-meter line to the near side of the field, but they're getting called back by the referee. That is, of course, Abrazidze, the replacement number 9 with the dark blue scrum cap on, and it's a penalty to the Springboks, quickly taken here by Elton Jantjies. This one does not find the touchline. It bounces into the corner there, and Niniashvili has an opportunity to win some field back for the Georgians, but it will still be a Springbok put in. Official time is up, and that is the end of the game. So the Springboks win 40 points to 9. And good showing by the Springboks in the end. Impressive by the loose forwards. And yes, Dave, will you close us out and tell the people what they must do and where they must go, and tell them all about...
Absolutely. A wonderful display there by the Springboks in the end. Too many Georgian errors were their downfall there. But like you said, a good performance from some of their players. South Africa have a couple of questions that they need to ask ahead of the second test next week, Friday, but the result is a win for the world champions as handshakes go around. Don't forget, you can join us tomorrow as we broadcast from 8 p.m. the 5th game of the South Africa-West Indies T20 series, and we will bring that to you live, ball-by-ball action. Please, as well, tweet us at OneWorldSR if you're going to be joining us for the cricket, at GorillaSA, at GUERILLASA. Find us all on Twitter. He's Ozmaster. I'm Coach Dave93. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we look forward to seeing all of you very soon. We'll be back next week, Friday, Otto and I, for game number 2 in this 2-match series. We look forward to it, and keep well. All of you, stay safe, and we will see you soon. Stay safe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.